السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Ladies and gentlemen, نائب صاحب السمو الملكي الأمير حسين بن طلال المعظم، معالي الدكتور محمد أبو حمور، أصحاب المعالي والعطوفة والسعادة، السيدات والسادة الضيوف الكرام. كانت منظمة النهضة العربية واحدة من مئات المنظمات العربية والعالمية التي وجدت في البروفيسورة باربرا هاريل-Bond مثالاً ومصدراً أساسياً للعلم والمعرفة والخبرة في مجال دراسات اللاجئين والهجرة القسرية، ودافعة للعديد منا من أبناء الأردن لتطوير برامج حماية تتعلق بإدارة أزمة اللجوء وتسليط الضوء على أوضاع اللاجئين في الأردن. فكيف لا نحيي ذكراها وهي من تذكر قضية كل لاجئ قابلته ودعمت كل باحث وناشط ومدافع عن حقوق الإنسان قصدها، وأسهمت إسهامات تاريخية في تطوير مساقات هذه الدراسة الشائكة وتحويل حماية اللاجئين من عمل إغاثي إنساني إلى منهج وإطار حماية قائم على الحقوق، مكن ملايين البشر الذين كانوا عرضة لظروف استثنائية دفعتهم للهجرة واللجوء من الحصول على أدنى معايير الحماية في أنظمة الدول المستضيفة لهم. وقد وجدت هذه الدول ومنها الأردن فيما قدمته البروفيسورة باربرا هاريل-Bond عوناً لها في مأسسة خدماتها والتنسيق مع الجهات المعنية مثل المفوضية السامية لشؤون اللاجئين وتجاوز العديد من التحديات في إدارة مخيمات اللجوء وتقديم خدمات نوعية خارجها. وبقدر ما نتشرف بعقد هذه الفعالية تحت رعاية صاحب السمو الملكي بوجود نائبه الدكتور معالي الدكتور محمد أبو حمور، بقدر ما يحزننا فقداننا لهذه الصديقة العزيزة التي أمضت حياتها مدافعة عن حق الفقراء والمهمشين بالوصول إلى العدالة وتوفير أطر الأمن والأمان لهم. وحتى نتعرف أكثر على هذه الأيقونة التي كانت رحلتها توصف بأكثر من فريدة وغير عادية، أدعو الآن الدكتورة غراسيا كراباسكا لتقديم الفيلم الوثائقي الذي نتشرف بعرضه بالأردن وتقديمه لحضورنا الكريم. شكراً لكم، وأدعو دكتورة كاسيا للتقدم. Thank you. شكراً.
Good evening, everyone. This is my great pleasure to be here with you today, and I thank all of you for coming and sharing this special moment with us. First of all, I wanted to welcome you. So the beauty of the Royal Highness, Prince Hassan bin Talal, Dr. Mohammed Abu Hamur, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Before I tell you a little bit about the film, I should first of all thank two great women who made it possible for me to show this film today and to share this moment with you. First of all, my great friend, Dr. Oroub El Abed. We've known each other for a long time, and in a way our journey started because of Barbara Harrell-Bond, and I'll tell you about it a little bit more in a bit. And secondly, Samar Moharef, the CEO of ARDD, thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you very much for agreeing to host this beautiful event. It is my great pleasure to share with you the life of a person who is no longer with us. She's no longer with us as she passed away July this year in Oxford in her home. But her ideas and her long life commitment to refugees, to refugee rights, to refugees whom she always held in the center of all her actions are with us, and they will be with us for many, many years to come. And I think this is so much more important to talk about a life of a person who committed her life and devoted her life to this cause at this specific point in time, also because of everything that is going on around us. And the issues of displacement, forced migration, refugee rights that are getting more and more eroded are with us, and they are so present, not only here in Jordan, but in the greater Middle East and everywhere in the world. And where I come from Europe, definitely so. So what you're going to see today is, first of all, a story of a person, a life story of a woman, an extraordinary woman who had several lives. It's like a cat. She had 7 lives. And you see it in the film. She, at the later stages of her life, she became someone who we know her for, a social anthropologist, a researcher, an advocate for refugee rights, someone who was influential in setting up refugee legal aid across the region, but also in many different places in Africa and in Europe. And for most, setting up refugee studies, at that time program, now center at the University of Oxford, and helping then from 1980s, since really this year when she passed away, helping setting up new programs on refugee studies across the world. Why also showing the film under the patronage of Prince Hassan bin Talal? It's also because he himself was a close friend to Barbara, and Barbara held this friendship in a very special place in her heart, and I think her work in Jordan was even more so important because of this connection. And I'm sure that that the ARDD people can also tell us more about this, and I hope we find some time at the end of the film to share these memories of how important Barbara's connection to Jordan was. Now, let me tell you a few words about the film itself. So it is both a personal project and a historical project. A personal project, and this is where I go back to the story with my friendship with Oroub, that started in 2002 when I came to Cairo and was looking for some type of employment, and I knew that there was Refugee Studies program at that time at the American University in Cairo, run by Barbara Harrell-Bond. So as a student of humanitarian affairs, as a social anthropologist interested in refugee issues, I sent her a message and I said, well, I'm just looking for opportunities to find something in the field. The response came within seconds, and this is who Barbara was, came within seconds and said, send me your CV and come to my office immediately. Her office was her home. So when I arrived in her home, there were plenty of people, refugees, students, interns, lawyers, researchers, academics, politicians, journalists. The home was full of people. And this is who Barbara was. It was a person who drew so many people to come and talk about refugee issues. Within minutes, I got a job, which I thought I would never be able to do. And Barbara said to me, look, I don't have time to run this refugee studies program at the American University in Cairo. It's important, but I don't have time to do this because I'm really focused on refugee legal aid. So this is what I want to do in Cairo. So how about you help me do this other job that I have to do? So not knowing much about refugee studies, let alone running a program of refugee studies at an American university in Cairo, I had to learn fast. And this experience with Barbara became something that inspired me to continue this work. And this is where I am right now. I am someone who is a researcher and an academic, a lecturer in refugee issues, in gender and development, in humanitarianism, and who holds refugees really central to my work. And this is what I learned from her, that if you want to learn about, if you want to learn, if you want to write, if you want to say something meaningful about refugees' experience, you have to learn it from refugees, and refugees have to be central to your work. They have to be at the core. It's not about everybody else. So I hold it very, very close to my heart, this inspiration. So that's the reason for being it a personal project. Historical project, because this is also, through the life of Barbara, what we're learning is the history of the refugee studies field. As you will see, she's really one of the first people, if not the first person, who started refugee studies as a field of study, and all different challenges that you're going to see through the film. So by making this film, the idea was also to preserve a memory of how refugee studies as a field came about, who were the key people in bringing the issues to the foreground, how it came about, what were the ideas that were so central to it. And this is important also for the young people. So many young people now want to study refugees and want to study migration issues. And I think it's important to remember how the field started and what were the ideas behind it. So before I start the film, let me just mention two more things. One thing is about the film itself. I told you why I made it. But the idea of the film came up about 2 years ago. Maybe I should just add, just in addition to being a researcher and an academic and someone who researches and writes and teaches about refugee issues, I'm also a filmmaker. So I work a lot with film. And there are some of my colleagues here in this room that know it very well because we did some other films together before. Marina Derek, who is in the audience, we worked on a film from a project on adolescent girls' migration in Ethiopia and Bangladesh, for example. So 2 years ago, I was presenting that film at a conference of the Association of Forced Migration Studies in Poland. This is an association that was also set up by Barbara, and it meets every 2 years. And when I was presenting this film, some of Barbara's friends said to me, you know, why don't you make a film about Barbara? You know, she's getting older and soon she will not be with us. Why don't you just interview her on camera? So this was a great idea. And people like Efi Vutira and Georgia Donna, some of Barbara's very close friends, were behind this idea. But then, of course, they are busy doing their own work. And I was kind of left with this idea of making a film. So here I am. I managed. It took me about 1.5 years to gather funds from all possible places, sometimes people sending £5 and, you know, £10 for the film. Trying to gather footage from all possible sources and many different people sharing footage and photos and music with me very generously because I think they also believed in the project itself. So it's a project that had a lot of struggles on a tiny budget with really a lot of conversations with Barbara, but not much footage and videos that I needed for the film. I worked with two colleagues, with one colleague specifically, with Enrico Falzetti, who is a professional filmmaker, and he helped me to put the whole story together, so you see his name in the film as well. And two other people that I would like to mention who are very important are those who contributed music to the film. It's Barbara's daughter, Debbie Bond. You will hear her music at the beginning of the film. She is a blues singer in the US. And the second person, Julian Simbi, who is one of the refugees that Barbara helped. Barbara had this talent of just sharing anything that she had with people who are in need. And he was one of the people who knocked on her door in Oxford a few years ago, trying to find his way through legal assistance to get his asylum case heard in the British system. And Barbara helped him to get to the court. She gave him little money to see legal assistance people. And he is also a musician. So his thank you to Barbara was contributing the music to the film. And you hear his music through the second part of the film. The film, I'm very happy to say that Barbara managed to see the film. We screened the film for the first time in Oxford in June 2018 for the World Refugee Day. She saw the film. I was very nervous because she was one of the people, those of you who know her, you also know her, that she was quite critical. So I wasn't sure what the reaction was going to be. I was unable to go to the screening, but her family and friends who went and were part of it, they said to me that at the end of the film, she just said very quietly, "I liked it." So I hope you'll enjoy it as well. The last thing that I wanted to say before we start the film, it's about the leaflet that you also see outside. Together with Barbara's close friends and colleagues, Natalie Forcier, Gail Hopkins, Effie Vutira, whom I already mentioned, Georgia Donna, who are also behind the film, and myself. We set up a foundation in the name of Barbara Harrell-Bond Foundation, and that foundation, the idea of the foundation is really to follow what Barbara was always doing. So it's providing micro grants to asylum seekers, refugees, for now in the UK, but the idea is also to do it broader. People who might need a little assistance to get legal assistance, or maybe go to see a lawyer, or maybe go to see a doctor, or maybe have problems with rent. So it's really these little gestures that Baba always did. And it's an idea of connecting volunteers and just ordinary people with refugees and asylum seekers. So now I invite you to watch the film. The film is about 55 minutes, and then I think Oroub will lead the discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being so many. Excellencies, honorable guests, we're so happy to have you really being with us in such a very special occasion. Dr. Grabaska, Kasia, you brought us together to learn about such a very special woman, very strong, who inspired us so much, who gave the world such a very important discipline, especially for a country like Jordan, a country that has received, for the last 100 years, major influxes of refugees and of migrants. How important this is for everyone in us in this country to realize that when we are dealing with refugees, with our multidisciplinarity, whether we're doctors, psychologists, sociologists, engineers, anthropologists, scientists, how important it is for us with this multidisciplinarity to know that we can deal with these refugees based on a certain discipline and certain theories and certain approaches. As she said in this documentary, how important it is for us to merge between the humanitarian discipline and the practiced one and the policy. Sometimes we're missing out on this, and sometimes we think it's just a matter of theory, but it isn't. What Barbara did really proved to us how we can do both and how we can see both, whether in writing or whether in practice. Thank you. Thank you for such a very special documentary that really leaves us thinking with too many words related to the otherness, related to how do we perceive ourselves, but most importantly, what we can leave to the world, such as this very major heritage that this woman left for us. She, for me, having worked with her for 2 years at the AUC, I don't only see her as really a pillar of a very important discipline, which is the forced migration. I see her as a mentor, a very harsh mentor, if I may say. I cannot really miss this word. She met me as I was just finishing my master's from London, School of Oriental Studies, for African and Oriental Studies, SOAS. I was just out of London, back in Jordan, where I had a little chance to work for 1 year at the Department of Palestinian Affairs, a body at that time that used to be linked under the Prime Ministry, focusing on Palestinian refugee camps in this country, the 13 refugee camps. And I was tempted during the summer to go and attend the forced migration diploma that takes place on a yearly basis at Oxford. And soon after, I saw that there was a little course at AUC, the American University in Cairo, very much suggested by Barbara to look into the international refugee law. Not being a lawyer myself, I thought this is such an occasion for me to learn more about the approaches that we deal with when studying refugees. I go there, I participate, and Barbara calls me the last day of the course, and she called me at the hotel, in fact. She said, could you come to my house, my office, tomorrow morning? I said, I'm traveling back to Jordan. She said, I don't care. Can you come at 8? And I really had to be at the airport at 11. 8 o'clock, I'm at her office, house, and she offered me to be with her at AUC, that was in 2001, in order to teach the discipline of forced migration, particularly with the Palestinian angle. How do we read the Palestinian refugee issue, and how do we analyze it? How do we look at all the readings? And what could we learn from the Palestinian refugee story if compared to the biggest story that falls under the 1951 Convention? And this was really my story with Barbara. We learned lots. She inspired us. She taught us. But I must admit, I was talking to Dr. Ayman Halase. I am today where I am. I have done all the readings and the writings that I am able to do, to be so proud of today, because of her mentorship, because of her supervision. After I finished from Cairo, I produced a book called Unprotected: Palestinians in Egypt since 1948. She was with me literally in every chapter I wrote. She would call me every Friday at 8 o'clock in the morning. She would wake me up literally, asking me just to go to her house in order to discuss my chapters. This is Barbara. This is very, very much Barbara, who sees the refugee as very much of a central body in her life, and how we really need to live with their story, believe that we are really the voice of these refugees who need us. This is what she made out of me, she made out of Kasia, and she made out of many of us who worked with her. This is very much of an occasion where I'd like to hear you, we would like to hear you and your experiences, especially that we're in Jordan, telling us your experience. I don't know if we have mics, your experience with Barbara. It will be really a great, really occasion for us to hear you. Somewhere, do we have mics? I'm sorry, I forgot to ask. They should come up to the podium. Any hands up? Dr. Halase, could I invite you? Because I had really a chance to talk with Dr. Ayman Halase. It will be really a great pleasure to hear you. And again, we lived with this woman. We had our experiences, our tough moments, our lovely moments. And there's Dr. Ayman Halase and the lady in front of Dr. Halase, isn't it? Yes. All right, please. I'm really sorry, we don't have a mobile mic. Ibrahim Tahtamoni, I see you and I see your hand. All right.
مساء الخير جميعا. أنا اسمي أيمن هلسة. طبعا أنا بعرف الدكتورة عروب من خلال باربرا. كنت موجود في مصر في بداية 2000. طبعا أنا كنت واحد من الأشخاص اللي بينوا بالفيلم من ناحية إنه قديش كان عندها ناس بترعاهم ومنترز القصة كمان مشابهة من حيث كيف كانت بسرعة بتتعامل. يعني أنا بنفس اليوم التقيت فيها، أعطتني فرصة عمل وبلشنا نشتغل. كل هذا صار بيوم واحد. طبعا أنا كنت أشعر إنها يعني تعطي الأردنيين معزة خاصة لسبب معين، ما بعرف ليش. حتى صورة سيدي حسن كانت دائما موجودة على مكتبها. عندها يعني أنا قبل 20 سنة كنت أشوفها كبيرة بالعمر وأحكي من وين هالطاقة، فلما إنها تستمر كل هذا العمر كان إشي كتير ملهم بالنسبة لنا، وإحنا كنا شباب ومش قادرين نلحق وراها. الشغلة اللي أنا بحس أنها مهمة فيما يتعلق بالليجل ايد اللي هي غيرت عقلية الناس كيف عم بتفكر، إنه إحنا دائما كنا نفكر المساعدة القانونية للاجئين هي موجودة في دول أوروبية، دول عندها قوانين وتشريعات وفي نظام إنك تروح فيها على المحكمة. طب بالنسبة للدول اللي بتقوم بهاي العملية المفوضية السامية لشؤون اللاجئين، الشخص بروح بيقدم طلب، بندرس طلب اللجوء تبعه، طب ما في رقابة عليه؟ هذا كان الموضوع اللي نبهتنا له في ذلك الوقت، واللي كان أنا عم بعمل الدكتوراه في ذلك الوقت خلتني أغير الهيكل الكاملة تبعت الرسالة عشان نركز حقوق طالب اللجوء أمام مكاتب المفوضية السامية، كيف نقدر نعمل رقابة على المفوضية، كيف نقدر نفحص قرارات المفوضية، وكيف نقدر نستأنف قرار المفوضية. لأنه بالغالب كان القرار يجيك كمقدم طالب لجوء يا رفض يا قبول. طب إذا رفض، طب ليش؟ مش من حقي أعرف شو سبب الرفض حتى أقدر أستأنف؟ فيعني كانت هاي النقطة اللي بلشنا نشتغل عليها، وكان في عنا كثير من المتطوعين اللي عم بيجوا تم تدريبهم عشان يحضروا المقابلات بالمفوضية. بجوز بفترة قصيرة جدا نسبة القبول بالمفوضية في مكتب القاهرة تحديدا زادت 50%. 50% يعني أنت عم تحكي عن نسبة مهولة، لأنه صار في رقابة على الشخص اللي عم بيعمل المقابلة، صار في رقابة على أسباب الرفض، بطل في تعسف في اتخاذ القرارات. أنا كنت أشتغل في المفوضية سابقا في بمنتصف التسعينات، ورجعت أشتغل بال2013. التطور اللي صار في مجال الحماية الدولية فيما يتعلق بمكاتب المفوضية، كيف تعمل مقابلات مع اللاجئين وتحدد وضعهم أو مركزهم القانوني، مخيف. والفضل كله برجع للأفكار اللي بنيت سنة 2000 و2001 في مكتب أو في بيت باربرا، اللي هي بعدين تحولت لأميرة وانطلقت وصارت منظمة عالمية. بعرفش إذا هيك إنه أعطيتها حقها، بس أنا يعني أول شيء سعيد إنه أنا أكون موجود، وشكرا للدكتورة عروب وأعطتني هاي الفرصة اللي زي ما حكت عروب إنه جزء كبير من تفكيرنا وطريقة شغلنا والبحث تبعنا. يعني إحنا يعني أنا كنت أدرس بجامعة القاهرة ومخلص من الجامعة الأردنية، بس هي رفعت المعايير البحث العلمي لمستوى جامعة زي أوكسفورد. يعني كمان عملت نقلة نوعية على الصعيد الشخصي وعلى الصعيد الأكاديمي وعلى الصعيد العملي، حتى في شغلي اختلف طريقة التفكير. شكرا.
Thank you. Dr. Ayman, thanks a trillion. We have a hand up here, so I'm coming up to you. And ممنونتك عن جد. شكرا. تفضلي.
شكرا جزيلا. I can speak in Arabic and English because I think many people need translation as well. So يعطيكم العافية. مساء الخير. أنا الدكتورة آيات نشوان من جامعة اليرموك، معينة من 10 أيام مدير مركز دراسات اللاجئين والنازحين والهجرة القسرية، وأنا سعيدة جدا بهذا المكان وبوجودي معكم، لأنه فعلا التعاون في موضوع اللاجئين موضوع مهم، وحتى فعلا نمكن دراسات اللاجئين ومراكز دراسات اللاجئين. بعتقد إنه بالنسبة لنا بكون كثير إنجاز إذا كان في توينينج مع مركز دراسات اللاجئين موجود بأكسفورد. هذا بكون يعني إشي كثير منيح، وسعيدة جدا لوجودي معكم. شفت العديد من الأصدقاء، وفي أيضا أكيد رح أكسب أصدقاء جداد. Thank you so much for this great event, Dr. Oroub. It's an honor to be with you. This is Dr. Ayat Nashwan from Yarmouk University. Recently, before only 10 days, I got appointed as the Director of Refugees, Displaced Persons and Forced Migration Studies Center at Yarmouk University. And I will work so hard because this is something we really should all advocate about, refugees and the studies, and to conduct a specialized studies on this topic, and how can we empower the local study centers. I think having a twinning with Oxford would be a good dream, but it could be soon with the efforts of the people who are interested to collaborate on that. Thank you so much, and I hope you a great time. Thanks.
شكرا لك. بالحقيقة لازم نعطي كريدت لباربرا إنها خلقت كوميونيتي بكل محل بالعالم متخصص بمجال اللاجئين. I would say to الدكتورة آيات، فيني أحكي لك فينا نعمل الكوميونيتي بداية بالكوميونيتي الأردنية اللي كثير من الناس درسوا بالفورس مايجريشن، درسوا the forced migration discipline. Whether in Oxford or in London, since I taught بساوس، ففي موجود في عدد كبير من الجامعات. بس بالتأكيد بنتشرف إنه تكوني جزء من الكوميونيتي تبعنا في مجال اللاجئين بالتخصص تبعه. we have one hand here, we have another hand here, and we have a hand down here. Yes, Samar. And I'm coming to Ibrahim.
نائب سمو الأمير حسن بن طلال الدكتور محمد أبو حمور حابب كمان يحكي لنا كلمتين، إذا تتفضل على البوديوم مشان الكل يسمعك. أوكي شكرا. نرجع
مساء الخير. يعني أنا بلغت قبل قدومي لهون بقليل نتيجة ظرف طارئ والتزام عاجل لسيدي سمو الأمير الحسن، فكلفني بأن أكون مندوب له في هذه الأمسية وفي هذا الاحتفال الرائع. فسيدي سمو الأمير الحسن ببلغكم تحياته، ببلغكم جميعا تحياته. صحيح أنه لما نتحدث عن قامات وشخصيات ساهمت في تغيير نمط حياة ناس مهمشين، ناس مليوا العناية والاهتمام، هذا إشي مهم، وبشكر المنظمين لهذا اللقاء الطيب. لما بنحكي عن شخصية تركت قيمة مضافة كبيرة في مجال إنها كرست حياتها لخدمة البعد الإنساني. هنا صورة، والصورة الأخرى ناس كرسوا حياتهم لقتل الإنسانية ولقتل المشاعر الإنسانية ولإيجاد هذا اللجوء في مختلف مناطق العالم. وكما يتحدث سيدي سمو الأمير الحسن بأنه 42 صراع في العالم، 39 صراع منها في الدول العربية والإسلامية، وهذا إشي يعني سيء. بالأمس استضفنا في منتدى الفكر العربي السفير التركي، وكنا نتحدث عن اللجوء، نفس الموضوع. في تركيا عندهم 3.5 مليون لاجئ، وفي الأردن 1.2 مليون لاجئ، وفي لبنان 1.1. تركيا تعتبر هي الأكبر من حيث الرقم المطلق، ولكن الأردن من حيث نسبة السكان تعتبر الأعلى وهي الرقم المطلق، إذا أضفنا قبل اللجوء السوري اللجوء العراقي وموجات اللجوء السابقة. صحيح أنه يعني بغتنم هذه المناسبة بأنه هي فتحت الباب وأوجدت شغلات ما كانت موجودة قبلها. التاريخ رح يذكرها، والتاريخ رح يذكرها، وإحنا رح نتذكرها على إنجازاتها وعلى ما قدمته للإنسانية. إيش إحنا بدنا نقدم؟ لما الواحد يشوف الفيلم بيشعر قديش هي قدمت وقديش إحنا بالمقابل مقصرين في هذا الجانب. يجب علينا إنه نسأل أنفسنا، طيب احضرنا هذا اللقاء وخلدنا وتخليدا لهذه الذكرى الطيبة ذكرناها بالخير، بس إيش هي الخطوة القادمة؟ وكيف بدنا نواصل المسيرة؟ وكيف بدنا نهتم بالناس المهمشين؟ 14.8 مليون طفل في العالم العربي ما بيقدروا يوصلوا للمدارس بسبب الأوضاع السلبية. 1.5 تريليون كلفة الحروب والصراعات في المنطقة العربية من بداية الربيع العربي. لو أعيد ضخ هذا المبلغ لغير غايات الحروب كان سدينا مديونية الوطن العربي كله، ألغينا مشكلة البطالة والفقر، ما أوجدنا ولا وجد هؤلاء اللاجئين. بكرر شكري للقائمين على هذا اللقاء، وفعلا يعني هاي مناسبة نستذكر فيها القامات والشخصيات اللي قدمت للإنسانية واللي راح الإنسانية تخلدها، وإحنا يجب أنه نحدو ونتعلم منها دروس. شكرا لكم ويعطيكم العافية.
شكرا لك معاليك، وشرفنا بحضورك، ونشكر جزيلا الكلمة اللي أعطيتنا إياها. بالتأكيد فرصة لنا أنه نتعلم من هاي الإنسانة ونعتبر بالدروس. الأهم من ذلك نعتبر بالدروس شو ممكن نعمل. تفضل إبراهيم تهتموني.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon you, all of you. Good evening. I'm very grateful to those who have invited me. Welcome to His Excellency, the representative of His Royal Highness Prince Al-Hassan bin Talal. In so many occasions, especially in such an occasion, passions can defeat mind and mentality. In such deeply touching occasions like this one, words can be defeated and tongue can be tightened. But the expressions, and the only expression for me myself, was tears. Were tears when I saw late Barbara Harrell-Bond. I met her during her visit to the Refugee Studies Centre, the Refugees and Forced Migration Studies Centre at Yarmouk University 20 years ago. And by that time, she came with other Oxford dignitaries to initiate the creation of the UNESCO Unit 1 network on forced migration. Then she asked me, Ibrahim, are you a refugee? I said, yes, I am a refugee and a citizen at the same time. She said, yes, okay. Can you come to Oxford? I said, yes, I can come, but I can't afford to pay for the course fees by that time. And by the way, now the course fees are higher and more expensive than they were in 2001, when I participated, thanks to His Royal Highness Sidi Prince Al-Hassan ibn Talal, who sponsored my participation in the 11th edition of the International Summer School on Forced Migration. And that was a starting point for me to go ahead and go for 5 times to York University, where there is a similar center for refugee studies in York University in Canada, in Toronto. But the most important course, in my own opinion, was that of the Oxford University, RCS, which was founded by late Barbara Harrell-Bond. I'm not propaganding Oxford, but this is the truth. I can compare because I attended both of them, in addition to my participation in the summer school of the Free Brussels University in Belgium in 2007. The Oxford University Summer Schools, International Summer School, is the best in terms of everything, to be honest. During her visit to the Refugee Studies Centre at Yarmouk University in Oroub City, in spite of her very congested agenda by that time, by a way or another, she knew that one of my sons was seriously sick in a very rare disease. And she said, I want to see him. I said, oh, Barbara, you are very busy, and you have a team with you. So she said, I want to see your son. And she did come to my house. She hugged my son. A couple of days ago, while checking my albums to see her photo, I saw her photo with hugging my son, who is still alive also, although sick. I was deeply touched when suddenly Dr. Oroub phoned me and called me that you are invited to attend the ARDD commemoration of late Barbara Harrell-Bond. I was deeply touched, really. I'm not going to add more than all of you have said. I'm not going to say more than the documentary. Thank you very much. And we need another soul twin to Barbara Harrell-Bond, late Barbara Harrell-Bond. And I've been always asking myself, whose paradise is it? Is it only for certain faiths or certain cultures? It's also, I'm sure it's also for those who have served humanity. And I don't think that there is anybody that has served humanity like late Barbara has done. Thank you. And I must say, may her noble soul rest in peace. Amen. Thank you.
I'm Dorothy Klaus. I'm the Director of Relief and Social Services at UNRWA. I just wanted to thank you very much for this event. I haven't been able to see Barbara before she died, but I do realize that it was a great privilege of having been one of those many of us whom she picked, in my case, from a very dull German university to tell me, Dorothy, please come to Oxford, write your thesis about Palestine refugees in Lebanon. And she opened her house and I was able to spend time with her. She lectured, she coached, and off I went into the world. And at some point in time, I decided I have to go back to work for what I studied. I went to work with UNRWA. And I also realized it's not just a privilege to have gotten to know her, but also a responsibility. And I'm very pleased to see all of you here, which will be a community to commemorate what Barbara has done, but also to remind ourselves of what she has been teaching, because we now have to do and implement and work along what she has been teaching us. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's very, very true. Thank you. This is very much supportive what Dr. Abu Hammour just said, the whole idea, where do we take it next? Thank you. Please. This is Matar Saqar. Let's hear from Matar. Please go ahead.
أهلا وسهلا بكم جميعا. أنا صحيح بهاي المناسبة مبسوط جدا قابلت زملاء وجيران أعزاء. أنا مطر صقر مدير إعلام الأونروا لمدة 30 سنة. قبل ما أتقاعد طبعا. يمكن أنزل على البوديوم بكون أحسن. خلي إبراهيم التهتمون يشوفني. وجاري العزيز الدكتور محمد أبو حمور اللي عمره ما تحدثنا مع بعض يشوفني. يعني كلنا أصدقاء. كيفك وسهلا. My next door neighbor. يكون نعرفني. لا طبعا يعني الشيء اللي أنا متأسف عليه إنه أنا ما التقيتش مع باربرا نهائياً، رغم إني التقيت في مناسبات عديدة جداً جداً مع باحثين ومع دارسين يحدثوني عن باربرا. عروب حكت عن حالها، بجوز بتعرف عروب إني أنا رافقتها من بداية رسالة الماجستير من التسعينات 96 تقريباً. ولما راحت على أكسفورد اللي ندمت عليه فعلا إنه دعتني في 2001 أو 2002 على القاهرة إني أتحدث عن موضوع اللاجئين الفلسطينيين وخدمات الأونروا ووضعهم في الأردن، لكن مديري في ذاك الوقت ما سمح لي، فاضطريت إني أيامها دعت الدكتور عثامني إذا لسه بتذكره من مركز دراسات جامعة العربية. طبعا إلنا كان أنا في الأونروا يعني ساهمنا برضه في تأسيس مركز دراسات، ففي كثير صفحات ضايعة، يعني في دوتس، في نقاط المفروض نوصل بيناتنا. يعني تاريخ مركز دراسات اللاجئين في اليرموك بيعرفوا أبو محمد، بنعرفوا تعاصرنا سوا. هل في موثق موجود؟ موضوع اللجوء الفلسطيني كنت أنا بطبعي كأونروا متعصب شوي لموضوع الأونروا ولخصوصية وضع اللاجئ الفلسطيني، كنت حابب يمكن يكون في نوع من الضوء على هذا الموضوع، لكنه ما لمست. إنما المناسبة هي لتكريم إنسانة عظيمة ورائعة موجود. فقط تعليق أخير على موضوع المالتي ديسبلينيزم، المالتي ديسبلينز، that should be there in order to provide services. We in Oroub, and I want to thank Dorothy now, perhaps she knows who I am now, the spokesperson of Oroub for 30 years before retirement in 2011. At our health centers, for example, if a child comes and hit on his head or suffering from a wound, the doctor is supposed to ask him or her why. Not just to treat the patient or to treat the child. And we discovered that there are cases of violence, of family violence, of sexual abuse from behind, these patients who come to the clinic. يعني خليني أحكي بس هاي النقطة في العربي. التوجه العام، النظرة الشمولية اللي دعت إلها باربرا تبنيناها في منتصف التسعينات في الأونروا، بحيث مثلا إذا جاء طفل مصاب ومجروح في رأسه، إن الطبيب ما يكتفي بمعالجة الجرح ويروح باعتبار مريض وانتهى وقام بواجبه الطبي، عليه أن يبحث وأن يحوله إلى المدرسة أو المختص التربوي أو المنطقة اللي موجودة هناك، لعله أو قد يكون وراء ذلك الجرح في قصة أخرى، في عنف أسري، فبرامج الإغاثة وبرامج الصحة وبرامج التعليم صارت تتوجه كلها مؤخرا نحو هاي الغاية. شكرا لكم جميعا، ما حبيت أطيل على هذه المناسبة سيدي، أنا سعيد إني شفتكم جميعا، وإن شاء الله زي ما حكى الدكتور أبو حمور إنه يكون في ولو نوع من الاستمرارية في جمعية اسمها جمعية اللاجئين موجودة في الأردن. طب وينهم مثلا؟ في كثير، في جهات أخرى، في تينك تانك تشكلت عن موضوع اللاجئين قبل فترة وحضرنا مثلا. فإذا فقط جايين out of obligation أو حتى إرضاء لزملائنا أو إنه مناسبة وانتهت، يا ريت إنه إذا تبلور عنها شيء يكون ضمن الكوميونتي اللي حكيت عنه. شكرا لكم وآسف للإطالة.
Thank you once again. شكرا جزيلا لوجودكم معنا. اعذرني رح أعطيك دقيقة لتحكي معنا، بس لازم أشكر الجميع لتواجدكم معنا لمرة تانية. بنحس إنه أنتم جزء من هالكوميونتي اللي أوجدتها باربرا، موجودة عندنا بالأردن، أحيانا ما بنشوفها. بكل صدق لما رجعت من الجامعة الأمريكية بالقاهرة، باربرا دعمتني جدا لأنه أحاول إني أحكي مع الجامعة الأردنية لنقول لهم إنه ليه ما نعمل هذا الحكي سنة 2003 2004، ليه ما نعمل قسم للهجرة القصرية ضمن العلوم السياسية. بتذكر الناس كانت تطلع علي بالجامعة الأردنية ضمن العلوم السياسية إنه شو هالفكرة، إذا أنت عندك اهتمام لاجئين كشخص ما بعني إنه هذا نحن ممكن نهتم فيه. اليوم مع الازدياد اللي صار والإنفاكت الضخم اللي صار سواء كان من العراقية ولحقهم بعدين السورية، صرنا ندرك إنه هذا موضوع مهم لأن نطلع عليه كقضية، كديسبلين، كعلم، ومش بس كتخصص سياسي. السوسيولوجي عم بيشتغل اليوم باللاجئين، والسايكولوجي عم بيشتغل باللاجئين، والعمارة. بالحقيقة نحن بفضل سمو الأمير الحسن هلأ في ورقة عم نشتغلها عن الأوربانيتي واللاجئين، قديش اللاجئ قدر يقولب شكل المدينة والسوشيال بيهيفير تبع الفرد بالمدينة، السلوك الاجتماعي للفرد بالمدينة. بشكركم فردا فردا لوجودكم معنا. شكرا دكتور أبو حمور لتكون معنا بمثل هذا الإيفنت، ممنونينك. ولسوء الحظ سمو الأمير ما كان معنا، حقيقة لسوء الحظ، لأنه نحن نعرف علاقته القريبة من باربرا هاريل-بوند. شكرا لكم. سمر، أنا بشكرك جزيلاً لأنك قبلتي فكرة إنه يكون الفيلم تحت مظلتك، تحت مظلة ARDD، وبشكر كل الفريق اللي معك اللي ساعد بتنسيق هذا النشاط. كاسيا, we cannot thank you enough. Thanks a trillion. You have done great work. Thanks a trillion. فشكرا جميعاً لكم.